Hey YouTubers, I'm Jacob. This is a how-to video for installing a GT style steering wheel in a 79 Bronco or 70s era Ford truck. I've included the product links in the description below, so make sure to click on those and check them out. All right, let's get right into it.
Here's a list of materials and tools you will need to complete this project.
The first thing you want to do is make sure your steering wheel is straight before you disconnect your battery, because you may need to turn your vehicle on to straighten out your tires. And if your steering wheel is off a little bit, this is the time to make sure you set it up how your tires are straight, so that when you install your new steering wheel, you can align it perfectly with how your alignment is on your front end, on your tires. Yeah, it's like, there we go. Doesn't want to get loose. This is like soft metal now. After I've straightened my wheel out and disconnected the battery, now I'm going to unscrew these two screws on the underside of the steering wheel so that I can release the horn button inlay here. Can you grab me that parts tray? The magnetic one? Yeah. So the screws don't roll out. That's why I like them. Keep track where they are. Alright, so once I pull back the horn inlay, on the inside here we have two blade style connections for the horn that we need to disconnect. Here and here. After that, we'll use a 15/16 inch socket, deep socket, to remove the center nut on the steering wheel. And you want to keep this wheel and nut because you're going to reuse it with the new hub. Alright, next up we're going to use our steering wheel puller. And I highly recommend buying your own steering wheel puller. They're just really nice to have on hand anytime you need to troubleshoot something that may be going on electronically behind your hub, or you just want to change out your own steering wheel on the go. It's really nice to have your own puller. You can rent them from like O'Reilly's or any kind of auto parts store like that too. So the idea is you just want to thread in these two threads on both sides of the main steering wheel shaft and get them seated nice and good so that you don't strip them trying to pull this wheel off in case it is seized up on there. You don't have to, I'm just keeping it from like not seating evenly by doing this. But I just like to bottom these out. Don't want to like over tighten it, but just get it nice and snug. Then you can get your center pin here like hand tightened like that. And then it really doesn't take much to get it off. And it's off. We just got it free right there. And that was torqued to 45 foot-pounds, which is Ford spec on this wheel. So you can see if you don't torque it to spec, and if it's less than that, it really wouldn't take much to pull it off once that steering wheel nut is loose. Puller off, and then the wheel should come free, just like that. Steering wheel is off. Okay, so with our kit, we're not able to fit the sleeve and the turn signal indicator in here at the same time. So per the directions, we're going to discard the sleeve. It just won't fit with the turn signal cam here. It doesn't fit over it, and it won't fit. I think if it was in front of it, it would crush this plastic. Here's the sleeve. Okay, so we're not using the spacer, our model doesn't work with it. Next thing I'm going to do is put the hub on the wheel just to figure out where it's at straight so we can get the hub mounted up. This is the cover. So we'll feed through this spot here. No, that's just a trim cover. And then we'll feed through the steering wheel at the top. right here. And then we'll need to align the 3 and screw this in. I just went ahead and snug these 3 nuts up on the hub so that we can get our wheel aligned. So we want to get our wheel aligned and make sure that our turn signal indicator is lining up with the groove on the back side of the hub, this little pin right here. So those need to align while we're doing this. And sometimes it helps to use a little bit of blue tape just to kind of indicate where it is. I'm just going to put, we want the wheel on straight too. So you want to get the wheel splined straight. I like to just get it barely on there like that. And then we can check from the side and see if the pin will align with the hub. And it looks like we've got pretty good alignment. You can check it from the side with a flashlight. It helps to look right there. See the opening, and it looks like it's in alignment. So we can push this straight down. Now we're going to go ahead and put the center nut on the steering column here, retainer nut. My impact won't fit on it now, so I'm going to have to use a thin wall here. And we will torque this wheel end nut down. This is what will hold it onto the column, so there's no need to like over torque these 3 once you get this nut seated. It is significantly less torque spec than stock wheel. Stock wheel is like 45, 55 foot-pounds. This wheel for the steering shaft nut is 25 to 30 foot-pounds. I've tried to do an install like this before, and I believe 30 foot-pounds is almost too much. So I'm gonna start out with 25. It's really not much to keep the wheel on there, but I don't think this nut is going to come loose once you get it torqued down to that. So I'm just gonna snug it up, and then we'll go to 25 foot-pounds on the center nut here. To the torque wrench. I think 27 just in case.
Yeah, let's try it. What was it, 25 to 30?
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so now that we have the wheel torqued down with the center nut, we're going to go ahead and remove the 3 hub nuts so that we can install the horn, button, and the contact plate and everything. So we'll just go ahead and remove those 3 bolts so we can get the rest of the assembly together. Okay, so the next thing up is the contact plate and horn portion here, so that when you press the horn down, these contact, and that's what creates the horn. So the way that these align is you'll see there's a cutout for the electrical. So we'll just want to feed the electrical through and align the 3 holes here, just like that. And this one will go this direction because you want to have a cutout here for where it plugs on the lower contact, and then also the cutout for the upper electrical. So we'll go through the middle here, and you'll see, just like that, how it all lines up. So now I can just loosely fit my 3 hub screws in here. And don't worry, you do want some like movement here, because when they're not in contact, that's when there's no horn, and when they are in contact, there's horn. And you'll see why when we get the spring and the horn cap back together here. But I just wanted to snug those up. Now we're going to go ahead and plug in the horn buttons here. Just have to turn it a little bit to bend it up. So we do want that to lay flat. So like that. This bottom one is welded on. Unfortunately, it's off just a little bit, but we just want to make sure that it's not contacting anything metal on the upper plate here, so that we don't have a constant horn. That would be a bummer. Okay, so there we go. We got them plugged in. If it seems like it's binding up the contact ring here, then I just like wouldn't tighten it down all the way, because you do want it to be able to slide and move on there. So you can see here it's still got movement. Definitely want to maintain movement right there so that you can still hit your horn button. And I believe we were tightened down enough. We don't want to over torque it or strip the threads in the hub, because the steering wheel is really being held on by the steering wheel end nut right here that we torqued down earlier. First thing we're going to do before you put the horn button on is put your spring on, and it's got a tapered design. And I like to put the smaller end on the end of the shaft there because it kind of holds it in place, and it'll give you a bigger surface area for the horn, so it won't be kind of like bouncy around on the edges. It'll be nice and even. I'm marking, so right here, I'm marking where the indentations are on the contact plate so that I know where the center line is. This way, if I need to take it off while I'm putting this on just to adjust anything, I don't damage the contact ring here. Because if you damage this contact ring, your whole assembly, you're gonna have to buy a new one, a new contact ring at least. Speaking from experience. And we chose this awesome Ford horn button. Pretty cool, looks very original and classic with the chrome around it, and then the black button, and obviously the nice Ford blue oval. Looking at the back side of the horn button here, you'll see dimples on the inside, and that's what we're going to align with these little cutouts on the contact plate here. You'll push down and twist to get it to line up. So we're going to, with the spring on there, we're going to just go for it. All right, so I'm down on it. And just like that, we're on it. And you can tell it's contacting. Okay, now before I remove my tape, let's go ahead and plug the negative on the battery and see if the horn is working before we take this for a test drive. Once I put the negative on the battery, I didn't hear a horn, so that's good, meaning we're not making constant contact. But let's go ahead and test out the horn and see if it works. Well, it's working, but it sounds unusual. Something's going on with it. Might be our horn relay. All right, so now I'm gonna tighten down my negative.
Dang, that's frustrating.
Yeah, it could be slop in the shifting linkage. We'll have to find out. No, it's smooth. It must have been that light that I replaced going back to the old style on the old turn signal harness. After you've finished completing everything and connecting everything up, make sure to take your truck or Bronco for a test drive. Make sure that everything is functioning properly. Use your turn signal indicator in both directions. Make sure the return is working, so it turns that off while you're turning when you start to turn back. Also test your hazards and make sure that your shifter isn't hitting your column. We've got a little bit of slop in our shifter, and I'm thinking that my shifter linkage may need to be tightened up to prevent contact with the steering wheel. Other than that, everything seems to be functioning great. I love the new steering wheel, the feel, the thickness. It's a huge upgrade over the stock wheel that we have here that was just absolutely falling apart, really small in hand. And it gives the Bronco a totally different feel while going down the road, and appearance too. It's just so much cooler. I'm really excited with how this turned out. I've included the product links and tools that I've used in the description below, so make sure to click on those and check them out. And as always, if you like this video, please smash down the like button and subscribe to my channel for more content. I'm going to be posting weekly videos on my Bronco and my F-150, so don't forget to subscribe to follow along. Thanks for watching.